Coming to you live from the Business RadioX studio, it's Franchise Marketing Radio, brought to you by IDS, an award-winning digital marketing agency that delivers integrated marketing solutions for franchisors, franchisees, and franchise development teams. Learn why over 75 brands depend on IDS's team of dedicated marketers and client service professionals to deliver a strong ROI on their marketing investment. Go to idsfranchisemarketing.com for a complimentary digital audit and consultation.
Welcome back, everybody, to Franchise Marketing Radio. I'm your host, Rob Ganley, and we're the show that explores the world of franchising through enlightening conversations with industry leaders and franchise experts. And today is no different. I have a great guest with us today. Her name is Jodi Glacer. She is a senior care advisor and business owner, franchise owner, in the Florida, good chunk of Florida, right? She's going to get into talking about that. But we want to talk to her today about what she's doing there in the senior care space. Welcome to the show, Jodi.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Rob.
Well, it's great to have you on the show. And full disclosure for the audience, I'm very, very involved. I love this brand. And it's great work that they do. And I've been a recipient of that work. So I can relate to this kind of work and really feel the marketing of it. So we are going to talk about the marketing, and we are going to talk about what Jodi's work is. But I want to just start with, tell us a little bit about your journey here, becoming a business owner, right? Working with a franchise brand there in Florida. Tell us about the journey and, how it started and, where you are now.
It was a journey for me. I don't really do things quickly. It took a couple of years for me to decide what I wanted to do. I had a very long background in corporate America. I had two separate types of professions. They kind of merged. They were both in the technology arena. I was a technical writer, and then I sold technical training. And I felt like I really wanted to be on my own. I felt as though I had grown out of being in corporate America, and that I had a great work ethic, and I really didn't need to have people overseeing me. And also things changed quickly, and I felt like I didn't have as much control as I wanted to of my own career. So that was the real reason why I had started looking. I started looking at the top 100 franchises. And actually at the time, this was a long time ago, I've been in over 7.5 years in the industry. And at the time, another franchise like this didn't have an opening, and they sent me over to Senior Care Authority. I had interviewed many franchises. What I liked about this franchise was the franchisor, just such a nice, honest person with a sound business plan and open to sharing with me how they did business right off the bat. And he just seemed like a good person. And I really needed to have more fulfillment in my life and be able to do something to be able to help people. At the time, I didn't have personal experience with seniors or my family at that time because my family was younger. Since then I have. But I could see me doing that, really listening to where people are, where they're trying to get to with their loved ones, and me educating them and walking them through the process.
I mean, I hear that a lot. And I know for me, I had a similar journey from the corporate world. And, and I think that franchising in general, I love franchising, and it's one of the reasons we do this show. And, I think that the stat is something like if you go into business by yourself, it's like 90% fail in 5 years. And so just in general, I love the idea of franchising where it's a collaborative group network sort of idea. But there's another element of Senior Care Authority or senior care, right? There's a lot of other brands and folks in the industry that do amazing work. But there's another element that attracted me to this industry and to this brand as well. And I know it may have attracted you, but it's the idea of more fulfilling. You mentioned this, like not just working for yourself fulfilling, but also the work you're doing fulfilling.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about the work you're doing and why you felt that was different than the other brands you looked at, or the other types of models that you looked at.
Yeah, well, there are processes and there are specific types of services that I could offer through Senior Care Authority. And at the time, it was just starting to grow, but this was something that the franchisor was looking at for the future. So that was important to me. And it's really just being my authentic self and really trying to help people and find out what their needs are. And in this particular situation, if you're just talking about Senior Care Authority, I get to work with family members, and I love family. And so I get to be with other people, and I meet their parents, and I meet their sisters, brothers, or their grandparents, and I listen to what's going on with them. And then based on what I hear, I give them step-by-step instructions on what they can do to move to where they want to get to. It's just really a great feeling.
Oh, I love the way you put that, but the other way that manifests itself, at least I believe, and again, I have looked at your brand, and there are reviews across the country working with people like yourself, and I've never seen such positive ones. I think one of the folks that does what you do said that when you get a review, it's like you get hugs, kisses, and tears with it. It's like a big deal, right? To people, right? It's very fulfilling. And I know for me, I've had discussions, and it was first about just getting some peace of mind, right? It was about feeling like you're not alone. Like, you know what you're doing. You care about your parents. You want to do the right thing, but you're not quite sure what you're saying, and no one talks about it, right? So like, I know for me, it was just having a conversation helped, right? And I know for you, that must be really fulfilling. So you're helping families find solutions for their elder loved ones, and it can be super complex, right? There's so many things that start to happen when we get older. And so you're in Florida, right? So tell us a little bit about the area you're in, how you're serving that area. But we had talked a little before the show, and I know obviously Florida is a beautiful state. Great place to be if you want summer more often. So a lot of people retire there. So we have an older growing demographic of older folks. Tell me how that's affected things and how you're, addressing that.
So I have a very, very interesting market, and it's different than most places in the country. There are a lot of people here that are seniors, and their family members are living in other parts of the country. So they don't get the help or support that they necessarily need. So I work more with people that are out of state, I think, than my other franchisees and in the company. So that's very different. Also, people in the franchise send me their clients because their parents are somewhere else. They meet them, and then they make the introduction so that I can help their loved ones here locally. So that's very different also. And because we do have so many seniors, we have a higher amount of people who have dementia. So most of the people that I'm helping with are trying to figure out what to do because their parents have dementia and they can no longer live alone safely. I think the biggest thing that I do besides lending an ear is that I spend a lot of time educating myself on all the different solutions that are here, so that when somebody explains to me what their needs are, maybe I don't have all of the answers, or I don't do all of these different services, because I do focus mostly on helping people find the new place for them to live in where they're going to be safe. But I know hundreds of people in the senior care arena who are going to go ahead and be able to help them. And that's a big part of what I think is important. And what I do is listening and being a full service vendor, so to speak, or a full service operation where people can come to me and I can help them with whatever their needs are by making those introductions. And I feel proud of that. When people come to me, I really listen to what their needs are. And then I address what their needs are by either helping them with what I know, or I'll make those introductions.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that that's kind of unique. I think if I'm keying in on what you're saying, you're basically have a team around you, right? It's a team of within your brand, but also outside of your brand, you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
A team of professionals could be in the legal profession, in the medical profession, could be in the home services, home safety, technology, but whatever that solution might be, you have a network of professionals around you. That's what you're saying, and you work with the family to figure out what they need first, second, third, right? So sometimes the moving into a new place isn't first, and you have other resources. Yeah, and so tell me a little bit about, because I thought we talked a little earlier, and you were mentioning that you're involved, right? So in Florida, maybe I was going to ask this, is because Florida has a demographic like you have, and it is a little different, sort of different market, is there also a lot of organizations down there? And I know you said you're also involved with a lot of organizations. So you tell me a little bit about how you're using those other resources to better serve your market.
Oh, yeah. So, well, of course, there's Alzheimer's community that's here. There's a lot of different groups that help people in the Alzheimer's space. I particularly work with one group. It's called the Partnership for Aging. It's a Palm Beach County Partnership for Aging. It's a local group of people who are in the senior care arena. It's all about advocating for our seniors, teaching each other about what we do, bringing in speakers that will help educate us in what's out there for our families. And then any money that we raise, we actually give that back to the community by giving bus tickets or giving money to organizations that are non-for-profit that help seniors. So we do a lot of different things. It's not just networking. It's not just education. It's not just giving money to seniors that are local, but it's a lot of different things that we do. And I really love that group because I've been on the board for almost 3 years. And I'd say that was the very first group that I stepped into when I became a franchisee, and I've been a dedicated member for over 7 years. I really rarely miss a meeting.
Yeah. Now, tell me a little bit about, like, we had just mentioned that you have this network, right? Mm-hmm. And you're also very involved in different organizations. So you have this community around you, mm-hmm. right? Tell me a little bit from a marketing standpoint, right? How has that helped you? I mean, I think this is intentional, right? Like when you got into business, there was a focus on this idea of having this team around you, but then it kind of goes both ways where you help each other, and it's helped you a lot, right? So could you share a little bit of how you built that?
Sure. Well, all of the people that I know, I want to learn about their business and what kind of people they're looking for as potential clients for them. And when I'm working with my families, once I build these great relationships with all of these people, I see them at Partnership for Aging. I see them at other networking events. We do business together. And I really have a sense for people who are like me, who are really dedicated and care about their clients and are doing the very best for them always. So those are the people that are my go-to people. So when I'm speaking to a family and they need help, I send them to somebody else, and then they remember that I did. And eventually they send people back to me, of course. And just like anything else, I mean, this is partially a sales position, and having those relationships with people and being in front of everyone reminds them. And when they run into clients that need help finding assisted living, they send people back to me. Absolutely. I'd say I have in my database, I mean, thousands, almost 2,000 people in my database. And I have several hundred people that are my go-to people. I mean, of course, I can't give leads to everybody, but I do my best to try and share those with the people that share information and leads with me. So I'm absolutely symbiotic. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think when you have a marketing system like that, it is, and a lot of brands do, but some don't. But to me, it's key for that foundation and that long-term growth, right? I mean, everything else has its ebb and flow and it's up and down, but when you have a foundation of partners that need each other, it's a win-win for everybody. Everybody just wins. And I know that when someone needs help, they need help. And so there's a group of people that can do that, and you reach out to each other and make that work. And from a marketing standpoint, it's just natural. It's more of a natural way of building a business, which I think is nice, because it also doesn't require large budgets, or you get into too much technical related things. Although I was going to ask you a little bit about, have you found other things helpful, maybe in the digital side of things? Obviously, there's a lot going on with digital marketing, but what have you found to be really helpful in anything else you're doing from a marketing perspective?
Well, it's always about the clients and trying to help people and getting to as many people as possible. So I work with a couple of organizations. We have a program called EASE. It's the Employee Assistance. Always EA, Employee Assistance. I'm sorry, I can't remember the rest of it. It's elder care consulting for consult. Yeah, right. Is that it?
And so I did research it, and I wanted to ask you about that. So it's about partnering with businesses, right? And what does that mean exactly? I know one thing. I've done a little research, and I know that employees today are struggling, right? They're like everybody, right? We're just people with parents. So like we're taking care of our parents. And the stat I thought I read was 1 in 6 employees actually are spending almost 20 hours a week taking care of an elder loved one. So, you guys have some kind of program to help employers, I think, create awareness, right? Around that.
Yeah, so it's an opportunity for people to look up information, but also to get a hold of somebody like me to help them. So that way they're not spending all that time trying to do research, where most of the things that people ask me by this time after 7.5 years are on top of mind. I really can just go ahead and, without even doing any effort, because I've been doing it so long, be able to give people the right answers very quickly, or give them information that's the right information, not what they think or speculate or they've heard about or they know from another state. So I can tell them in Florida, this is the situation, and it helps people to make better decisions. So I have a few companies that when they call up the person over in HR and say, I have problems with my family and I don't know what to do, they send them to me, and I am able to spend a few minutes on the phone with them and help them. And so it is a way for me to have people come to me on a regular basis. I mean, I really want to help people as much as I can, but the fact is that helps me to have a better business also. So what I want, what my clients want, are the same thing. And it's just such a great, it's such a great fit. I'm so happy to be able to help people, but also have a career and make money.
Yeah. There's sales and marketing to all this, but like, it's more just about if you just follow through and help folks and do the right thing, it kind of takes care of itself. And being in those types of roles is always fulfilling. It's so much easier, more fulfilling to do that, right? It's like, I'm going to give you a review because you really changed my life, and you did, and that's a good feeling. So tell me a little bit more. I mean, you mentioned that program, right? The one that helps employers. When I kind of went over Senior Care Authority, as I said earlier, I am very familiar with the brand, and I know one thing that's unique about it is and this kind of plays into what you said earlier about building the team around you. But tell me about the other services. You have consulting services, some kind of driver's program. You've got some unique things. I think it's all because when a senior or a family comes to you, you don't know where they're at yet. Right. And it's usually some kind of journey that the parents take. And it's not always at the end stage where they need a place to be, to live safely and healthy or more comfortably. So what, you need these other tools, right? To kind of help people and meet them where they are. But is that why Senior Care Authority does that? And they have those extra services, or how do you use them? How have they been beneficial for you?
So we do have a lot of different types of programs. What I mainly do is I'm an assisted living advisor. I help people find the best place for their loved ones to live, but I'm also an elder care consultant. And that's where it comes into play, where I have all these people, both the team for Senior Care Authority, as well as all of the contacts that I have from all my marketing and networking and working with these great people and being part of Partnership for Aging. So we have a process where we'll go ahead and basically just interview, and we call it an intake, and we ask people questions. I spend about 20 minutes on the phone with a family member. Sometimes we'll do it in person. A lot of times I am working with people out of state. I'll do Zoom calls, any way that people want to do it. I'm here to help them however it is. So we'll spend some time and I'll ask them a lot of questions, and I'll learn about their loved one and where they are now in their journey and where they're trying to get to. We talk a little bit about what they like to do and what's interesting to them, what kind of care needs they have, what physical needs they have. And by no means am I a doctor, or I'm not going ahead and giving people diagnoses, but I listen to what the issues are from a care standpoint. And then we'll finish that, and then we'll talk about, well, maybe, because of the circumstances, having somebody coming into the home 3 or 4 days a week is a good idea for you right now. So let me go ahead and give you some information about a contact or a company that does that I worked with before, and give them a call. And if that doesn't work out, call me. I'll give you somebody else. Because I'm not here to say who they should work with, but I'm just giving them suggestions of people that I think are good for their fit. And I think of the fit as what that company does, what the personality type is of the person they're going to be speaking to, financially, where that comes into play locally. I don't want to give somebody a company that is, 20 miles away. We want to go ahead and give it close. So I think of all those things. Sometimes people say to me, I really want my family member to stay at home, but I just need some free time during the day. Spouses need that. So there's daycare centers. So I actually work with some daycare centers, and some of them have given me the opportunity, if I suggest and introduce them, then they'll go ahead and give a discounted price to my clients. I mean, how good is that? But also,
that's awesome. Yeah.
And I have one of the companies that whenever they need somebody that needs more care, and they're looking for possibly a move, they'll send people to me. So I have those relationships already built. So moving is not always the right thing. And then sometimes people feel like my dad is not, shouldn't be driving. He has the beginning stages of dementia, but he won't listen to anybody in the family. So sometimes you just need an outside voice. And we have a program where we'll go ahead and talk to family members for a couple of hours about their favorite vacation and their first car. And we're taking notes, and we're seeing if they really are remembering what they need to remember. We ask about their birth date and what kind of medications they're on. And we also do pen and paper examples of things that they could do, like getting through a maze or drawing a clock that says 8 o'clock. And at the end, we bring in the loved one and we go over everything together. And if there are some issues with memory and they're evident, that loved one is going to see that there are issues, hopefully recognizing it for themselves. And we ask them very nicely if they would consider retiring from driving. So it's all about dignity, driving with dignity. And we'll also ask the family member who brought us in to have a solution. So maybe the solution is to have on speed dial something like one of the Ubers or something like that with a credit card on there. Maybe it's hiring a driver 3 or 4 days a week that comes to the house. Maybe it's moving to independent living. I mean, we don't have the answer. We'll just go ahead and ask them to come up with solutions that they think are the best for their loved one and give those to them. So I can do a lot more than just help people find assisted living. I can listen to everything, come up with solutions, bring in the right people. I can help with the driving portion of it. We help employees who are having issues. So all of those different choices that I have or tools that I can bring to my clients really helps Senior Care Authority and helps my clients.
Yeah, we talked earlier, and I know we mentioned the phrase peace of mind. And, a lot of what you just described, it's hard to give someone peace of mind if you just have one angle, but one thing, right? You're always pushing people away because they have other questions and concerns. And so you can't really do that. If you want to help someone, you got to be able to holistically look at where they are. Mm-hmm. But let's shift gears a little. So it's clear that Senior Care Authority is a great, well, before I shift gears, I want to ask you one question. And again, if you have a good story, maybe you could share. But everything you just said is a lot about, it's heartwarming. You're helping people. Is there a story? Anything could be humorous. It could be kind of a little tearjerker. But is there a story you wanted to share where you helped a family? It was one of the ones you remember. And any example?
I hear so many stories. It's so wonderful. It really is. So just recently, I helped a couple. I met this great woman and her husband. They had heard about me through someone else in the franchise, and they gave me a call. They live in a different state. They live in New York, and their parents live here, and they were living in independent living. However, they both had memory issues and were feeling they weren't comfortable hanging out with the other residents because they felt like their memory issues were separating them from the people that were there who are living there for independent living. They changed over time, which it happens. People change and the circumstances change. Yeah. So the couple told me all about their parents, and they came and flew down here. We went to go see several places together. And then after that, they had a long journey because they had to talk to their parents and help them understand that maybe making a move would be better. And assisted living isn't really what they think it is. The assisted livings down here, I call them senior resorts. they're so beautiful, and they have all of these different resources for them. And it's like going away to a resort where things are done for you, but you still have freedom. And that's exactly what they needed. So I introduced them to movers. They went back and forth a little bit on the actual room and what was available. So that was a journey. They finally had a community they liked, had a 1-bedroom that was opened up. We put them on a list for 2 bedrooms if they needed it in the future. And then they decided they actually didn't need it. And the couple is very happy there because now there are people that are like them. They feel like a part of the community, but they also wanted to have some separation. So they don't have to sit with a group of people for dinner if they don't want to. They were looking for some things that were important to them, but now they have activities, things to do, and they're very happy. And the people that I helped with in New York, they have peace of mind because they know now that their family is taken care of.
Yeah, exactly. And so, all right, I'm gonna wrap the show up, but I want to make sure this is a question might take a little time, but I wanted to see if you could share now pivoting over. So it's clearly fulfilling and you've enjoyed your journey and you're doing amazing work. Thank you. I mean, like listening to you, I'm like instantly know that you're helping people every time you talk to them. Right. And we need that. It's everything I look at as far as research goes, says that our population is going to need that. And we need people like you. So thank you for the work you're doing. But let's look at it from a business standpoint, right? When you were looking at this when you were at the corporate world, you're a business person. You were a professional and you had business, you had financial goals. So tell me a little bit about this model. I mean, has it worked out for you financially? I mean, I know you and I know you've been doing it successfully, but what do you like about the business model? What was it that you said, yes, this is why I want to do it, aside from the fulfillment? The actual way that you're doing the business. So is it home-based? Can you build a team? Do you need an office? Those elements, like what is it about this model you really liked and how has it worked for you over these last 7 years?
I did a lot of soul searching, but I also did a lot of methodology as far as making a choice. Of course I did. And the bottom line is important to me. I mean, we work, I want to be fulfilled, but I need to make money too. So what I liked about this was that there was a low threshold to walk into it because I'm not having to have an office. I work out of my home office. I actually have a dedicated room in my house for the office. I have had that opportunity in the past being in sales. I worked where the corporation was in a different city. I've also done when I was younger and I was a technical writer, I did consulting jobs also where I worked from home. So I was very used to it and I don't have an issue working from home. So let's say that was my dream job to have that all the time. So that was important to me. It takes about a year, like any sales job, before you're starting to create real revenue. So that was something that I was used to and I expected. Even when you work in corporate America as a salesperson, you're getting a small base and then you really don't start making money till you bring revenue in. So I was ready for that. So I had a couple of years of money that was going to be floating me through that time. So I expected it all along, thinking of the long game, right? So this is something that I've been doing for 7 years. I could totally see me doing this another 10 years until I decide that I want to retire. I can even do this part-time in the future if I want to. So those were some things. And I did a lot of laying of lists. So the things that I like to do and the things that I want to get away from. And this matched my list because I really do like speaking to people. I like helping people. I like going out and networking, and you have to do a lot of networking. This is not necessary for somebody that's an introvert because you want to get to know a lot of people. You want a lot of people to know you because it's not like everybody has 10 parents and they need placements. They have 1 or 2, and then their spouse has 1 or 2, and that's pretty much it. So it's not a lot of, one of the things that was warned to me is that you're not going to, you want something that you have a lot of a time where you can do things over and over again. You can resell something, and that's not the case. However, if you build relationships with businesses who have lots and lots of different people that they service, and it happens that a lot of the people they work with are either seniors or in their 50s and 60s, then you're good. So if having those relationships is good. And I had a background of business to business. So, not everybody works this business the way I do, but I love business to business. And that's been something that I'm very comfortable with. And I love speaking to other business people and saying, listen, let me help you to be a rock star. When you run across people who need help with their families, any questions that they have, I can answer. And it's true. I can't do everything, but I know all of the people that can do anything and everything.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of the business too. And of course, I live in South Florida and there are a lot of seniors here. So, I always thought that working a niche is, for me, is a good thing. And I like being in the niche, and we're in South Florida, a lot of seniors, so it fit with that too. I definitely amped my odds up by picking senior care in the South Florida area.
Yeah, you're probably a little ahead there, but the whole country is catching up quickly, right? That's one thing. Time keeps marching on, and our population keeps getting older. Is there any final tip you would have for someone looking for a business, someone in the corporate world? Anything that you kind of discovered as a business owner that you didn't realize as a someone that worked in the corporate world? Something that you just wanted to share with the audience before we go?
Well, I also am a big proponent for franchises because I love a business in a box. And when I worked in corporate America, they would give me projects and I would basically follow what the rules were and continue to do that over and over again, replicate it. So I love franchising because of that piece of it. You're getting a leg up right away. You're not having to figure out as much as you would need to if it were your own business. A lot of the marketing's already done for you, which is really great. And you have people that are already working the same business that you can call up. And I built relationships and friendships in the franchise that have spilled over to personal. And if I need something or I have an opportunity or I don't know how to do something, I know who in the franchise I can pick up the phone and talk to about that. So that's been a big thing that I really love more than I ever thought I would about being part of a franchise.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel the same way. I went through the same journey where I was part of some big companies and then when you become self-employed or an entrepreneur, it can be a very different lifestyle. And franchising is a nice bridge. You get a little of both, to me, it also is proven to succeed. So that's why it works so well across the board anyway, across all brands. But anyway, it has been a pleasure. I appreciate the work you're doing. How can folks, kind of get a hold of you locally, or being that you work nationwide? I think it's very clear, and I know the network, your brand works together, so there's a lot of people that can help. But where can people find you if Florida is something on their radar or they need some help in your area?
Yeah, you can just Google me. My name, Jodi, Jodi Glacer, Glacer, Senior Care Authority, and you'll find lots and lots and lots of information about me.
Yeah.
You can call me directly if you like. It's 561-303-2242. Or you can email me at Jodi, Jodi, at seniorcareauthority.com.
Well, I encourage all to do so, especially if you have something on your mind and you'd like to have some peace. So I appreciate you, Jodi. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.